Welcome to the world of entrepreneurship and innovation, a landscape as dynamic and interconnected as a living ecosystem. This journey begins with a fundamental question: what exactly is entrepreneurship? While there is no single universally accepted definition, it's clear that entrepreneurship is a multidimensional concept. It involves analyzing people, their actions, and how they interact with their social, economic, and political environments. It's complex, often chaotic, and defies linear thinking. As we embark on this exploration, we must develop the skills to discover, reason, and implement ideas in highly uncertain environments, much like navigating an ever-changing biological ecosystem.
To understand entrepreneurship, we must first consider the entrepreneur. Who qualifies? Is it only someone who starts a business from scratch? What about someone who buys an existing business, inherits a family enterprise, or launches an innovative project within a large corporation? The definition is fluid. Researcher Gartner once identified 90 different attributes associated with entrepreneurs, which he eventually grouped into 8 central themes: the individual entrepreneur's unique characteristics, the role of innovation, the act of organization creation, the drive to create value, the debate over profit versus nonprofit, the importance of growth, the element of uniqueness, and the question of owner management. This shows that entrepreneurship is not a single idea, but a rich tapestry of interrelated concepts. The story of entrepreneurial thought stretches back centuries. Historically, figures like military leaders and merchants assumed risks for potential gain. The term entrepreneur itself is often credited to Richard Cantillon in the 18th century, who saw entrepreneurs as specialists in bearing risk and uncertainty, buying resources at known prices to sell products at uncertain future prices. This idea of risk was refined by thinkers like Frank Knight, who distinguished between insurable risk and true uninsurable uncertainty, the latter being the domain where entrepreneurs operate and earn their profits. Other scholars added crucial layers to our understanding. Jean-Baptiste Say positioned the entrepreneur at the core of production and distribution. Alfred Marshall distinguished between capitalists who provide money, entrepreneurs who control it to create more value, and managers who run operations. Joseph Schumpeter delivered perhaps one of the most powerful ideas, that entrepreneurs are innovators who create new combinations, leading to creative destruction. This process dismantles old ways of doing things to make room for new transformative ideas, fueling economic development. Research in entrepreneurship seeks to answer 3 basic questions. Why do some people become entrepreneurs while others do not? Why do some recognize profitable opportunities that others miss, and why are some entrepreneurs vastly more successful than others? Early attempts to answer these by looking at personality traits like a need for achievement or risk-taking propensity proved inconclusive. However, newer research is revisiting personality through frameworks like the Big 5 traits, and more importantly, focusing on entrepreneurial cognition, how entrepreneurs think differently. Cognitive skills are the knowledge structures and mental models entrepreneurs use to piece together unconnected information, identify opportunities, and assemble resources. Scholars like Barron suggest that a cognitive perspective can help answer the field's fundamental questions. This leads to the concept of entrepreneurial scripts, mental models or step-by-step sequences that guide action. A general venturing script, for example, outlines the journey from searching for an idea, screening it, planning and financing, setting up the business, starting up, managing ongoing operations, and finally, harvesting the value created. Recognizing opportunity is the spark that ignites the entrepreneurial process. It's a cognitive skill that can be developed. Peter Drucker spoke of monitoring 7 sources for innovative opportunity: unexpected events, incongruities, process needs, changes in industry structure, demographics, changes in perception, and new knowledge. Others, like Mitchell, frame opportunity discovery through scientific insight or specific circumstances, often arising from market imperfections. Murphy presented a multi-dimensional model, showing opportunities can be found through deliberate search, serendipity, legacy, or a eureka combination of luck and effort. Vesper highlighted that entrepreneurial creativity isn't linked to IQ, but can be enhanced through practice. He also warned of mental blocks that hinder idea generation, such as perceptual, emotional, cultural, and environmental barriers. Overcoming these requires tactics like brainstorming, seeking clues from diverse sources, and persistently generating solutions. This creative process is intimately connected to design thinking, a human-centered approach to innovation that integrates people's needs, technological possibilities, and business requirements through overlapping spaces of inspiration, ideation, and implementation. Evaluating an opportunity requires analyzing the environment at multiple levels. We can view economies in different forms: the relationship-focused bazaar-type economy, the impersonal firm-type economy common in the West, and the modern new economy, which blends virtual clustering with personalized relationships. A prominent trend in the new economy is the sharing economy or collaborative consumption, where platforms like Airbnb and Uber leverage underutilized assets, creating value through access rather than ownership. To properly assess a venture idea, an entrepreneur must conduct analyses at 4 levels. At the broad societal level, tools like pestle analysis examine political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal trends. At the industry level, Porter's 5 Forces model analyzes competitive rivalry, threats of new entrants and substitutes, and the power of buyers and suppliers. At the market level, a profile analysis assesses the attractiveness and size of the specific target segment. Finally, at the firm level, internal analysis using SWOT TAOS matrices, VRIO frameworks, and financial projections determines if the organization has the strengths and resources to succeed. With a promising opportunity evaluated, the next step is constructing a business model, the story of how the enterprise creates, delivers, and captures value. A popular tool for this is the business model canvas, which breaks the model into 9 building blocks: key partners, key activities, key resources, value propositions, customer relationships, customer segments, channels, revenue streams, and cost structure. This approach is particularly suited for startups, which are temporary organizations searching for a scalable, repeatable business model, not just smaller versions of large companies. This philosophy aligns with the lean startup methodology, which advocates developing a minimal viable product, measuring market response, and learning quickly to decide whether to pivot or persevere. The goal is to validate learning through innovation accounting and adapt rapidly to customer feedback, reducing the waste of time and resources on unproven plans. For many ventures, a formal business plan is still essential. It serves both internal purposes as a roadmap and measurement tool and external purposes to attract financing and key personnel. Effective business plans communicate expectations, milestones, the nature of the opportunity, context, and the business model itself, while establishing credibility through the strength of the team, detailed elaboration, scenario integration, financial links, and a compelling deal structure. The development process is iterative, moving from essential initial research through defining the business model, drafting the plan, making it realistic, ensuring it appeals to stakeholders, and finally, polishing the finished document. A comprehensive plan covers the business idea, vision, mission, values, and goals. It details the operating environment analysis, an operations plan covering facilities and processes, a human resources plan for culture and recruitment, and a marketing plan that defines the target market, competition, and marketing mix strategy for product, price, place, and promotion. The financial plan, with cash flow projections, income statements, and balance sheets, tells the numeric story of the venture's future. Turning a plan into reality requires financing. Entrepreneurs often start with personal funds, love money from friends and family, and possibly grants or prize money. Financing broadly falls into two categories: debt and equity. Debt financing, like loans, requires repayment with interest but allows the owner to retain control. Equity financing involves selling an ownership stake, sacrificing some control but not requiring regular repayments. The investor's return comes from the venture's future success. Sources of equity include angel investors, venture capital funds, and public or private stock offerings. The appropriate financing changes with the venture's phase. The idea development phase relies on personal resources and possibly angel investors. The startup phase might attract venture capitalists, asset-based lenders, or strategic partners. The growth phase can utilize mezzanine financing, public offerings, or acquisition strategies. Throughout, investors conduct due diligence, so entrepreneurs should maintain meticulous records. With financing in place, the venture enters the setup phase. This involves protecting intellectual property through copyrights, patents, trademarks, or trade secrets. It also includes a myriad of practical steps: choosing a legal structure, selecting a location, recruiting initial employees, setting up supplier agreements, and ordering inventory. The subsequent startup phase begins with the first sale and focuses on survival, generating cash flow, adapting to unforeseen challenges, and implementing effective leadership. Once stable, the business enters the growth phase. Here, the entrepreneur must continuously monitor all levels of the environment: societal, industry, market, and firm, and strive for innovation to maintain competitive advantage. The ultimate goal is to harvest the value created, which leads to strategic considerations about exit. Strategic entrepreneurship involves planning for the end at the beginning. Exit strategies include private sale, public sale through an IPO, holding the business within the family, or a combination. Closely linked is succession planning, a process to ensure the smooth transfer of leadership and ownership, protecting the business's legacy and providing financial security. A rising strategic imperative is sustainable entrepreneurship, which moves beyond corporate social responsibility to embed the creation of shared value, benefiting both society and the business, at the core of the company's purpose. Innovation is the specific tool of the entrepreneur. It is not merely invention, but the purposeful and organized search for change and the opportunities it presents. Innovation can be incremental, evolutionary, or revolutionary. It can apply to products, processes, customer experiences, or entire business models. Organizations must understand their innovation threshold, the level needed to be competitive in their sector, and evaluate innovations based on desirability, feasibility, and viability. The diffusion of innovation theory explains how new ideas spread, highlighting the roles of the innovation itself, communication channels, time, and the social system. Other key elements include innovation pacing, which is the speed of delivery, and innovation value, which distinguishes between competing in existing red oceans and creating new blue oceans of uncontested market space. The most transformative form is disruptive innovation, which makes expensive, complicated products simple and affordable, thereby opening up entirely new markets. Finally, entrepreneurship does not exist in a vacuum. It thrives within an entrepreneurial ecosystem. This ecosystem is a complex adaptive system, like a forest, made up of interconnected actors, organizations, institutions, and processes. Variable changes occur regularly, but sometimes a parameter change, a major event or introduction, can cause a bifurcation, transforming the entire ecosystem into a new, more vibrant state. Within this broad field, several specialized types of entrepreneurship have emerged. Intrapreneurship involves entrepreneurial behavior within existing organizations. Social entrepreneurship uses business principles to address social problems, creating sustainable social value. Indigenous entrepreneurship often intertwines business with cultural values and community well-being.
Community-based enterprises arise when a community acts collectively to create an enterprise embedded in its social structure to address local needs. Family businesses, which form a massive part of the economy, face unique challenges and opportunities, particularly around succession planning and maintaining harmony across generations. Our journey through the toolkit reveals entrepreneurship as a disciplined, learnable practice. It is a multifaceted adventure that starts with a spark of recognition, is fueled by cognitive skill and rigorous analysis, is built on a solid model and plan, is powered by appropriate resources, and is sustained through strategic growth, innovation, and an understanding of the broader ecosystem. It is the art of turning change into opportunity and ideas into value that endures.